today's rankings activity.
Yes. Rankings.
And this comes from Teach.
Oh, okay.
I assume it's that one because he says, hey, teacher from New York here, wondering if you could all rank your school experiences between pre-K, elementary school, middle school, high school, college. There's a lot of variables here, such as responsibility, school's difficulty, popularity, friendships, etc. But you'll figure out what criteria is more important.
Man,
be good.
Very hard for me because I went to...
Yeah, you went to a lot of schools.
3 different elementary schools, 2 different high schools, and 4 different colleges for 5. So kind of a tough game for me. Off the bat, I think I'd go middle school's last.
Ooh.
And I didn't have a bad time in middle school, but it's definitely last.
Just in general.
Yeah, there's that time. College is going to be number 1 for me.
Ooh.
If I narrow it down to like our time at CCSU,
yeah,
like that 2-year window, that's probably the most like fun per day I'll ever have in my life.
Like honestly, my dark thoughts, like are
just banging away outside again.
Someone's letting it rip out. Oh, here's last. My deepest, darkest thoughts late at night are, about getting older and, you won't be young again. Michael K's famous quote, youth is wasted on the young.
I love that you attribute that to Michael K.
I can't wait to tell him. I cannot wait to tell him. Is that when I was in college, I pretty much operated under the assumption that fun does end. So pretty much every Tuesday, Wednesday night, if we were partying and I was like, maybe I shouldn't be partying, maybe I should be studying, I pretty much went for it. I didn't tap out.
Yeah.
And so when I sit back and reflect at age 31, I'm like, I'm pretty happy about that. Because, dude, some of the nights, and that's what I've mentioned this across different programs, like some of the nights I even look back 5 years ago when I was in Dallas. Like when I lived in Dallas, I was still, Friday, Saturday night, like I was going out.
Yeah.
And that ends. And so I think I'm pretty happy with that. So I think, college probably jumps to 1 for me because you're right. I mean, just undeniable, wild fun.
Like fun per day. Like every day we woke up and we did something.
Fun was the itinerary.
Yes.
It was how are we going to have fun today?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Middle school is going to be probably my outlier because middle school is pretty good to me. I mean, I didn't have to still try it all academically, like still just actively smart enough to get C pluses and Bs and keep it moving. And I was like, I was 2-sport captain. A lot of people didn't get their growth spurt yet. Times were pretty good for Jake in middle school. So I'm probably college, middle school, high school, elementary.
Elementary is really hard to wrap your head around,
tough,
especially because I did K through 1st grade in New Jersey. Then I had to go, because the school years are different, so I had to go back to 1st grade to year 4 or year 3. Then when I moved back to America, I skipped 4th grade. I never did 4th grade.
Right.
Because I had to go straight to 5th grade because it's just, they
went back
they
to where
don't
you
add
would've
up.
been.
Yeah.
Like you're ending, like I just ended 1st grade, so I should have started 2nd grade, but they were in the middle of the school year, so all the kids my age were still in 1st grade. So I did like a year and a half, that was 2nd or 1st grade, a year and a half of something, and only half a year of 4th grade. So, but all those schools are much different experiences for me because I was in Australia and like being a new kid in Australia for 2 years, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because everyone wanted to talk to me.
Right.
Being a new kid.
Werner.
Being a new kid for 4 months in 5th grade in Illinois, not fun.
Time.
Yeah. What you got, passing?
No. You saying that question from me to you.
Okay.
When you moved back to America and people heard there's like an Australian kid coming, a kid moving here from Australia, were they like pissed when it turned out you're not really Australian?
I don't think that like memo got sent.
Yeah.
Like I don't think
just
they would have
new
to
kid.
ask me. New kid. And it was like literally the last 6 months of 5th grade, which is everyone's about to go to middle school.
Yeah.
So, it'd be like if a new kid came for the last half of your senior year of high school. People don't care. Like, hey, dude, we're out of here anyway.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that exciting. But when we moved to Australia, we were the Americans coming to school, and they made an announcement,
Right.
welcome our family from America, and they
That's
really
a big thing.
Like with the first day of school, the big whiteboard said like "Welcome from America,"
Right.
Jimmy, Elizabeth, and Courtney, and all that. So like it was
That's pretty cool.
It's very easy to make friends in Australia. And I was 10 years old, and I played every single sport.
Yeah.
So like I was very excited to play cricket and rugby
Yeah.
and all of those.
No, that's pretty cool.
But I mean, as far as like, it doesn't even count. I would put middle school, elementary school, high school, but then high school's two wildly different experiences as well.
Yeah.
Because Connecticut high school and California high school, way different. Like
You enjoyed your time
yeah, very much.
both places,
Way
but they're different experiences.
Like Pomperaug did 8 classes a day,
Right.
and they called it A block, B block, D, which is the dumbest. I hope Pomperaug has changed that, because anyone else just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5th block, instead of having to count like F block.
Right.
I have no idea why Pomperaug did that. When I got out of Pomperaug and went to another school, I was like, why the fuck
Yeah.
did I have to do like E block and F block and not just a number?
Yeah.
And then
Letters and numbers get compared a lot.
we went from Pomperaug like 8 40-minute classes, and then I went to 4 hour-and-a-half classes in California. And if anyone high school agenda people are listening to me in the education system, 4 hour-and-a-half classes, you learn way more and have much better days than doing 8 different teachers. Like I talked to 4 teachers a day. You got a lot of time with them.
No, and it's like it's almost the stereotype that's leaked out. Like every class has a book and stuff. So like you go, and those teachers don't talk.
8 classes a day is so stupid.
Yeah, I mean you can get pretty overwhelmed in high school.
Yeah.
We had like 9 classes a day in mine. I mean, I guess technically it was 8, but it was 9 periods.
I remember Pomperaug did
I
something
changed
like
it my senior year.
like you could only give homework, like history and English could only give homework on like 2 days of the week, and then the other math and science could like so they didn't stack
Glad
you.
they had that a little bit.
But
we didn't have rules.
Yeah.
it's just stupid. Like block scheduling was so much better, and that's what college and life is.
Yeah.
So any high school that doesn't do block scheduling, fix your shit.
Declan with an interesting point. High school has the highest of highs, but also the lowest of lows. It's kind of a confusing time,
Yeah.
but if the state championship football game or whatever, like those moments that jump out, like we beat our rival soccer team, and you do feel on top of the world, and then your crush doesn't like you, and you don't shower and wear sweatpants for 3 days.
Yeah. And then like also like in California, it's outside high schools. There's no hallways. There's no lockers. You never take your backpack off your back.
Freaks me out.
And you don't. And I told Katie, like, I liked the hallway structure so much more because that forced friendship between like your locker buddy.
Oh my God. The
Like
locker bays.
Like for 5 minutes. Yeah. And Pomperaug had locker bays, which is also weird. Pomperaug did a lot of weird shit that I don't think people that went there realized like this isn't normal.
It's good.
But, yeah, like, just that hallway camaraderie of like, oh, I see you every time I walk from first class to second class, so we always nod at each other.
To interact.
Yeah, you don't have that in the California high school that I went to. You just only saw the people that you aimed to see. So it was a little different. Because there's always that feeling when you come back from summer, you're like, hey, we both know we're never going to hang out in summer.
Yeah.
But we have a great time in class in the hallways.
We're buddies.
Yeah,
Chop it up in class.
Yeah, those friends you kind of just don't make in California as much when you're forced in a hallway.
What are your final rankings?
College 1, high school 2, elementary school 3, middle school 4.
BBD?
College, elementary school, middle school, high school. I did not like high school.
Yeah. High school's tough, man. Again, Jake's dark alone moments with Noodle late night. I mean, I was pretty lucky in high school. I mean, friends I grew up with for a long time and all of that. And I mean, kids' bodies changing and stuff. Like,
people grow.
Just like literally grow and figuratively growing and trying to figure yourself out. It's
being a 14-year-old in a hallway. See, that's the other thing. California, you can avoid the seniors. Being a 14-year-old in a hallway with an 18-year-old is some of the most intimidating, scary shit you could ever do. And then we had that super, like when I was 14, I started on the hockey team with a 19-year-old super senior. Yeah. He was my wingmate. We're not like same skill level at hockey.
That's weird.
But like, dude, like you're an adult.
Yeah.
I'm a tiny kid.
Yeah.
And I would like bully him. I felt so safe around people like that because I knew they wouldn't actually beat me up. Because his name was Sunshine, or it wasn't. I nicknamed him Sunshine, and I would sing to him Sunshine and do like, "You're my sunshine" as we played. But he knew that it was. But he was 19. I was 14.
Yeah, it's not
same line. That doesn't make sense.
I've forgotten this story. My first day of high school, this kid I played soccer with, we used to wrestle in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like, I was the only one that would take him on. And, like, I wouldn't really win, but, like, just the fact I was the one that would take him on. It's a good time. That carried on later in life with Shane Bannon. Anyways, first day of high school, show up, and he's, he turned into a football guy. He played middle school soccer like a football player. And, again, didn't fully put it together at the time. But, so he had become a football guy. So first day of high school, see him. And, like, not friends, but, you share a field together. You become friends. So I see him, I'm like, oh, Tibbs, what's going on, man? First day of high school. Just grabs me by the head, headbutts me. I was pretty shook. I was like, what's happening? Yeah.
Was he trying to was that like he was bullying you?
No.
Or that was like him showing affection?
It was endearment.
Okay.
That's how.
I could have seen that going either way.
How
the guy you used to wrestle with, and now he's a football player.
How a 15-year-old football player welcomed me to high school.
It's funny.
So.
You look back.
Boys are so dumb.
I think it's wild. I think it's wild. You look back now and you're like, you're so little, like 18-year-old.
Oh my
you're
god.
So little.
Yeah.
You're so young.
Yeah.
You don't feel it.
You have conversations that feel real, and then you look back and you're like, oh.
Correct me if your experiences were different, but I also felt like high school, so much more pressure than there ever should have been on just like everything. But it really didn't matter at all.
To a fault, I've never really succumbed to that. My mom says it's the one thing she wishes she really changed. I was allowed to get 1 C every report card. And that's such a low bar for high school when you can can schmooze with teachers and I could just talk my way into a C or B. So I never believed GPAs was real. So that's a little bit, and I still don't. And I would tell anyone listening, unless you want to be a doctor or lawyer, don't worry about your GPA ever. Like, do the bare minimum to get into the school you want to go to. But you had classmates that chased 4.0s.
Yeah, you had doctor/law ambitions at
I
that
felt
point.
very bad for my friends that chased a 4.0, and if they got 1B, it was like the death. And I was like, this doesn't really matter. I was pretty ahead of the curve on this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was smart enough that this sounds so douchey.
It's good.
I was smart enough I knew I could get a B in anything. No questions asked.
And again, that's
if I got an A, I was like, why did I do this?
BBD, that's another
and it was probably going to be A's.
Where you're saying your high school experience wasn't a great time. I mean, again, it can go a lot of ways. There was kids that were, probably fighting, and in their head, they were like, I could go as hard as I can, and I'll be lucky to get a B. And that's a daunting mindset too.
Yeah. I mean, I was very happy I wasn't one of those.
Yeah.
But then it was if I ever got, I don't know, 4 main classes, if I got less than 3 of them were A's, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get yelled at for an afternoon.
That sucks. I mean, you
because my parents knew I was smart. They gave me the test to be in gifted class. They wanted me to be smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't personally I was like, oh, I know I can get a B. I'm good, but
I guess I kind of got
in college when I figured out I wasn't going to go do grad school or anything, I was like, oh, my grades don't matter. I know I'll do well enough.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool when I hit that moment.
Everything should be pass fail.
Yeah.
Just learn what you need to learn.
My sis hit an academic bar that I was never going to get to, which my mom coming to grips with that is good and bad. But, and know what it was? Freshman year, I think I failed algebra or whatever it was, and I just did summer school. And then I got a B, and I was like, this is the solution?
Little make good.
That's not bad. And then there's some privilege. All right.
Oh, and before we move into whatever wrap up, I think people are gonna be mad if you don't explain locker bays.
Oh yeah.
I put it together from context clues, I think, but
So, and Jimmy
it was like an indent in the wall.
Jimmy mentioned hallways. So, classrooms were generally on the outside of the walkways, and then throughout the building there were different inward locker bays that had lockers on each side, and they were different colors, and it was honestly wild. There was cool locker bays.
I wish there were pictures of them.
There were
I
loser
googled
locker
pump rug.
bays. There was this year.
They were color coded, so like red lock. So all right,
This year we're gonna hang out at Upper Red Locker Bay in the mornings, and then end of the day will be Lower Blue.
picture a square. The school was a square, and the inside was empty. Like it was, so it was a square, and the inside was empty. So on the inside of the square were the locker bays. So it wasn't just a long hallway of lockers. It was like 4 tiny, short hallways. That was like they were all red lockers. And then downstairs in the same exact spot was the same red lockers. So there was upper red, lower red. And then there was 4 corners on the square. So each inside corner basically is the best way to imagine it.
Yeah.
Had a colored locker bay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't spread out throughout the entire hallway. It was just these
A bay.
So I was lower yellow, which was a terrible locker bay. No one ever hung out there. It was right by the administration offices. Woof. Yeah. So I actually shared a locker with my girlfriend in Upper Red, which was a cool locker bay
Red was
to hang out.
I can tell you immediately, just based on the names.
Yeah.
Lower yellow and upper
No,
red.
lower yellow was not a cool
Dreary
locker bay.
Wasn't a good color. Yellow.
And the pump rod color was red, which I assume also. I mean, red just sounds better.
Then there were
anyway, but-
purple lockers that weren't a bay. They were, if it's a rectangle, the short sides. And if you were there,
you almost didn't go to high school.
it was kind of like the Stanford prison experiment, where like if the school decided that you were a purple locker bay, you kind of just got doomed. Like
You didn't go to this high school.
you're a loser. Yeah.
Yeah. For my final high school story, girl I grew up with, Carla. She just got married recently.
There's got to be pictures on your Facebook, like at a locker bay.
Ooh, maybe. But so, you're a freshman. I'm a freshman boy. I think I was 13. She was like kind of one of the hot freshman girls. I think she dated a senior. And her locker was right next to mine. So it's literally out of like a high school movie where it's like, oh, Carla, how are you? Like, we're in high school now. And then like the big high school senior would come over and they'd just like suck face at the locker next to me. And I'd be like, all right.
All right, Carla.
See you guys later.
Yeah, locker bays were very weird. They were actually like not good because you got stuck. They like got super congested.
That's like where everyone is going to hang out at one.
I could do a 2-hour solo episode on locker bay stories alone.
Yeah.
Insane.
Maybe you might like this quick one. I would just have to stay after for like cheerleading stuff or hockey stuff. Whenever I stay after school, I would go to a locker bay, and some people put paper so they didn't have to do their combo the whole time. You could just lift it up and open it. I did that. I didn't care if anyone stole anything out of my locker. It was like, these are just my textbooks.
Didn't leave anything of value.
Yeah. What I would do if I got stuck after school is I would go to a locker bay, and I would just find 2 lockers that were open, and I'd just take everything out of one. I just switch them. So the next day,
There's no rules.
So the next day they got to school, and I'd like be spying, like, how's this gonna play out? It's a little social experiment.
Something will happen.
And I did it to like Devin and Aaron, McD, and and whoever got there first just took everything out and put it on the ground and just went to their class.
Those are kind of the rules.
Yeah, like what the fuck is this?
Someone's stuff is here.
And then the next person showed up, opened their locker. We're like, what is this? And looked at the ground like, oh. And then I did that a handful of times, and it never really like hit, but just the fact that they showed up confused, it's like, that's funny.
See, that could fly in lower yellow, but never in upper red.
I did that. What was not upper red? The other one,
upper orange.
That I did an upper orange.
I was an upper orange guy. Upper orange was like the Brooklyn of its time. Like, it was cool. Like, it definitely wasn't going to be the spot, but like upper orange head.
That's like the picking It's like the not calling shotgun, but going for one of those good second row seats.
Yeah,
so
like
you're not gonna have to go.
You're gonna have a
take
good time
back
in
or
Upper
middle.
Upper Red was basically like a nightclub.
Upper Red was
It
a
was
party.
nuts.
Yeah.
I seen dead fish in Upper Red. I've seen shit go down in Upper Red.
That's why I got half of Jackie's locker. I need to be where the action.
It was happening.
Lower Yellow. Like I was embarrassed to be in Lower Yellow.
Yeah.